I wanted to talk about an Epic's original show that's been making a lot of noise lately. This show is called From. It's about a family who gets stranded on a road because a tree falls on their path, and they seem to not be able to get back on the road. They have to get to this town, they can't get out of the town, and at night spooky stuff start to happen. Now, a lot of people have been praising this show. However, I think I am seeing some red flags in this show, meaning things that leads me to believe this show might not be able to have a great final season and stick the landing. However, I think there are a lot of redeeming qualities about this show too. So in order to be fair, I wanted to dissect this show and talk with you guys about two things that I think are red flags in this show and two things that I think are green flags in this show. So, without further ado, let's get into the first red flag. So, the first red flag in this show is the fact that this is a mystery box show that is about sci-fi elements. Now, mystery box shows are shows similar to Lost. It was actually coined by J.J. Abrams, the creator of Lost. Mystery box shows are shows that have a premise that is a mystery. However, it's different from murder mysteries because murder mysteries have one mystery and it gets solved by the end of an episode or a season. But mystery box shows, the more you learn about the mystery, it's like a box that opens and it leads to more questions. So it's like questions that lead to more questions, similar to Lost, similar to From, and similar to another show that's on there called Yellow Jacket. Now, the problem with From isn't that it's a mystery box show. That's great. The problem is that it has sci-fi elements. For example, the monsters, or the fact that they're stuck in the town and they can't seem to get out, with supernatural forces are seemingly not letting them get out. See, Lost had the same problem. Lost is a great show in my opinion, but had the same fault. See, when Lost was about logical things, like the mysteries was about the bunkers or why the plane crashed, it was excelling at it. It was doing perfect. It was good mysteries and good premise. However, when it started to get more sci-fi and it started to have time travel elements and it started to get into why the smoke monster is the way it is, it started to not live up to the expectation of people. You might ask why, and I think the reason why is that good mysteries are mysteries that you are able to solve. You need to be able to sit down, think about the mysteries, and be able to solve those mysteries. And when you make things about sci-fi elements, then how am I supposed to guess the imagination of a writer? Now, you might say, but there are a lot of sci-fi fantasies or books and shows and movies like that have mysteries, and you're right. Like Harry Potter is one of those. Harry Potter is a fantasy show that has a lot of mysteries, but see, the mysteries are about logical things like who gave away Harry's mom and dad's location. It's not about sci-fi elements like why does Avada Kedavra kill people? See, I think that's when Lost start to fail because there is no good explanation for why Avada Kedavra is the way it is. It's just your imagination. It's your magic system. Same thing with the smoke monster in Lost. It's just something you imagined up. Now, I don't think that you can't ever make a mystery about sci-fi things. Like for example, in the MCU, the Marvel movies, we know how quantum realm looks. We know how multiverse looks. We know that when sparkly things come out, there's a teleportation happening by Doctor Strange. Therefore, we know the groundwork. They have made the groundworks. We know the limitation of this world. So we know what are our options that we have. So when someone teleports somewhere, we have options. We know whether they might have come from another multiverse, they might have teleported there, they might come from quantum realm, whatever. But there's a problem with From. When people are stuck somewhere and supernatural forces are not letting them get out, how? why does physics not work in this town? Like, could there ever be a logical explanation for why physical things aren't working the way they should? Or why monsters are doing what they do? I mean, I think that when they end up explaining these mysteries, I think we will be deeply disappointed because there is no logical answer to this. Like, they are going to have to give us some sci-fi explanation. They have to give us some fantasy explanation for why the monsters are the way they are and why these families are stuck in this town. That's what I'm trying to say. I think the mysteries in this show will let us down. However, they still have time to build the groundwork. They could start putting some limitations in our mind, give us some options to think about, but till this episode I've seen, I think we are going to fail. First green flag of this show is that it is fast paced. And when I say fast paced, I mean it's much faster than Netflix horror shows. Like, think of, Hunting of Bly Manor or Hunting of Hill House. This is faster. By those standards, I was expecting some deaths and some kills to happen by the finale or in the, penultimate episode. But I'm not gonna give anything away, by the way. But the first season has one episode. I think it's the seventh episode. Something happened that I was expecting it to happen, like in the finale. It was fast. This series does not hold back on killing characters. Now, it's not Game of Thrones killing every main character or Walking Dead. I mean, Walking Dead didn't kill that many main characters, but it is kind of trying to be on those same levels and it's succeeding. I mean, it's a scary show that's scary, intense, fast, and none of your favorite characters are safe. I mean, I think they have done a good job at it. So, they might not, have mysteries that seem to pay off. However, they have made up for that with the fact that they're actually scary and intense. So that leads me to the second red flag, which is the acting. See, I'm not one of those people that's easily, distracted by people's acting. I don't pay that much attention to that. However, the whiplash that I get from the good actors acting well and then the next scene bad actors acting bad, yeah, I'm looking at you, mom. These mom and dad, they act so poorly. Like, they're so bad in my opinion. But then the sheriff of the town is just acting so well throughout these scenes. Now, I kind of expected it to be this way because it's an MGM Plus show, and these guys look like CW actors. I mean, they're young, they're hot, but they don't seem to be that experienced in acting. However, there are a couple of actors who are doing a really good job. Like, the sheriff of the town is doing good, that guy who has, a tech company is doing a good job, that kid who's been in this town for a long time and he's now grown up, he's doing a good job. Like, these characters are really good, but I think it's such a shame that sometimes the kids, like in the main family, the kids sometimes outshine the mom and dad, and the sheriff of the town is just the best actor in this series. Now, the problem is that I think it's not just the acting that's bad sometimes. The dialogue seems to be weird sometimes. Everybody has that one tone. Everybody has that, oh, we're all gonna die, things are going bad, and I understand that. But when you look at shows like Walking Dead, they're not all the same like tone. They're not all the same emotion. And by the way, the mom and dad could have been the main characters, but they're given so little. Very early on, I caught up that like these guys aren't the main characters. Like, the dad could have been the Rick Grimes of the show, but he's not. He's not. We don't even get a background. We just know that he's an engineer in like a park somewhere. Like, we don't know much about these people. And those two things coupled with each other makes me think that this show doesn't really do great with character with the characters. It kind of feels like this show has some CW actors, but suddenly has some other actors that have HBO vibes. I just hope that the writers start writing better dialogues and catches up with the backstory of some of these characters, because longer shows really need good characters to sustain them. I really need to feel for these characters and feel like they're my friends. And up until this point, I have not felt that way. However, the second green flag of this show is that this show looks good. When I learned that this show is an MGM Plus show, I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't expecting great CGI, and I was not expecting good production value. However, this show has both. The scenery looks good. The monsters and practical effects look fantastic. The cinematography even, they are making older shows look unwatchable. Like, even the greatest shows of the last decade, they haven't looked this cinematic. Like, take Sopranos for example. It doesn't have like this good of a lighting. Now I understand LEDs have made lighting so much easier, these past years, and my comparison isn't really fair. But you gotta give it to the cinematographers of this show. This looks fantastic. Also, CGI looks fantastic too. TV shows have never had this good of a visual effect. Go back to like Smallville days and see how bad CGI in TV used to look. I remember the days where Flash was the greatest CGI we had seen on TV. So, in conclusion, this is a show that has some elements that makes me worried that it will not live up to the hype and it will not stick the landing. But it also has some redeeming quality. So, should you watch this show or not? I guess yes, I think you should watch this show. But do I think is it worth it to pay another subscription? No. Maybe even wait for a couple of seasons to pile up and binge it all. Please like and follow and comment if you want to see more episodic commentary.